Let's roll. Let's go, let's go. Coming out.
Run away, I got to get away from the pain you're driving to the heart of me. The love we share seems to go nowhere. I lost my light for a toss and turn against sleep at night.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, oh, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. Whoa, Georgia, Georgia, no peace, no time, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I say just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Flashbang.
You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, but you don't know me. Oh, you don't know me. Oh, you don't know me. And longs to kiss your lips, and longs to hold you tight. Oh, I'm just a friend, that's all I've ever been. 'Cause you don't know me. No, you don't know me. For I never knew the art of making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and shy, I let my chance go by, a chance that you might love me too. Love me too. You give your hand to me, and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. Oh, you never know the one who loved you so.
Deploying flashbang. Flashbang.
Afraid and shy, I let my chance go by. A chance that you might love me too. Oh, you give your hand to me, and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. Oh, you never know the one who loved you so. Well, you don't know me. You don't love me. You don't know me.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no
Oh, woman, oh, treat you so mean. You're the meanest old woman. I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more.
Now, baby, listen, baby, don't you treat me this away, 'cause I'll be back on my feet someday.
Don't care if you do, 'cause it's understood. You ain't got no money, you just ain't no good.
Well, I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more.
Well,
Don't you come back no more.
what you said?
Don't you come back no more.
I didn't understand
Don't
you.
you come back no more.
You can't mean that.
Don't you come back no more.
Oh, now, baby, please.
Don't you come back no more.
What you trying to do to me?
Come back no more.
Oh, don't hurt me like that. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, oh Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly.
Deploying flashbang.
Still in peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. Whoa, Georgia, Georgia. No peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my I said just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Well, I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah, say I got a woman
Be careful. Bombing it
way
all
over town, good to me. Oh yeah, she give me money when I'm in need. Yeah, she's a friend indeed. I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah, she says a loving early in the morning just for me. Oh yeah, she says a loving early in the morning just for me. Oh yeah, she says a loving just for me. Yeah, she loves me so tenderly. I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah. She's there to love me both day and night. Never grumbles or fusses, always treats me right. Never running in the streets and leaving me alone. She knows a woman's place is right there now in her home. I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. Say I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah. Oh, she's my baby. Don't you understand? Yeah, I'm a lover man. I got a woman way bet your soul. They did the boogie woogie with a steady roll. They mess around. They're doing the mess around. They're doing the mess around. Everybody doing the mess around. Now, when I say stop, don't you move a peg. When I say go, just shake your leg and do the mess around. I declare, doing the mess around. Yeah, do the mess around. Everybody's doing the mess around. Now let me have it there, boy. She knows how to shake that thing, mess around. I declare she can mess around. Mess around. Everybody do the mess around.
Grab your gear, let's go.
The sun comes up, she brings my coffee in my favorite cup. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. When I'm in trouble and I have no friend, I know she'll go with me until the end. Everybody asks me how I know, I smile at them and say she told me so. That's why I know, oh I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. Now if I call her on the telephone and tell her that I'm all alone, by the time I count from 1 to 4, I hear her on my door. In the evening when the sun goes down, when there is nobody else around, she kisses me and she holds me tight and tells me, Daddy, everything's alright. So I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. Now if I call her on the telephone and tell her that I'm all alone, by the time I count from 1 to 4, I hear her on my door. In the evening when the sun goes down, when there is nobody else around, she kisses me and she holds me tight and tells me that everything's alright. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her. Oh, hallelujah, don't you know? Now my room has got 2 windows, but the sunshine never come through. You know it's always dark and dreary since I broke off, baby, with you. I live on a lonely avenue. My little girl wouldn't say I do what I feel pillow is still like stone. Well, I toss and turn so every night. I'm not used to being alone. I live on a lonely avenue. My little girl wouldn't say I do. But I feel so sad and blue. You know it's all because of you. I could cry, I could cry, I could cry. I could die. 'Cause I live on a lonely avenue. Yes, sir. Lonely avenue.
I'm bringing the hostages out.
Counter-terrorist win.
Lonely Avenue, Lonely Avenue.
Now I've been so sad and lonesome since you left this town. You know, if I could beg or borrow the money, child, I would be highway bound. I live on a lonely avenue. My little girl will say I do, but I feel so sad and blue. All because of you. I could cry, I could cry, I could cry. Yeah, I live on lonely avenue. Oh, avenue.
I'm throwing a grenade. Terrorists win. Still seems like a good idea. Right, guys?
Hey, mama, don't you treat me wrong. Come and love you, daddy, all night long. All right now. Hey, hey. All right. You see the girl with the diamond ring? She knows how to shake that thing. All right now, now, now. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Tell your mama, tell your pa, I'm gonna send you back to Arkansas. Oh, yes, ma'am. Right? Don't do right. When you see me in misery, come on, baby, see about me now, yeah. All right. All right. Oh, play it, boy. When you see me in misery, come on, baby, see about me now, yeah. Hey, hey, all right.
I'm throwing a flashbang.
See the girl with the red dress on, she can do the birdland all night long, yeah, yeah. What I say? All right. Well, tell me what I say, yeah. Tell me what I say right now. Tell me what I say. Tell me what I say right now. Tell me what I say. Tell me what I say, yeah. And I wanna know. And I wanna know right now. And I wanna know. And I wanna know right now, yeah. And I wanna know. Said I wanna know, yeah.
Terrorists win.
What's that? What's that? One time? All right. Oh. Oh. Ah, one more time. Say it one more time right now. Say it one more time now. Say it one more time. Yeah. Say it one more time. Say it one more time. Yeah. Baby, you're so good. Baby, you're so good now, yeah. Oh, baby. Baby, you're so good, yeah. Baby, you're so good. Baby, you're so good, yeah. It's all right. Say it's all right right now. Said it's all right. Said it's all right. Wow, shake that thing now. Baby, shake that thing now. Baby, shake that thing right now. Baby, shake that thing. Baby, shake that thing. Wow, feel all right now, yeah. Better feel all right now.
Terrorists win.
Tell you feel all right, yeah. Let her feel all right. Let her feel all right. You be my baby. Don't give me no maybe. I'll never, never make you cry. You be my honey. Give you all my money. I will till the day I die because you've set my world. Come closer, girl. You be my lover. There's no one above you. I want everyone to know. You look so tasty, like whipped cream pastry. Never let you go because you know. Won't you name the day? Me right away. You know you please me. Don't ever leave. let me lead you. Make all your troubles disappear because I well, you understand. Am I your man? Yeah, baby, you know it's alright. Come on, baby, and I love you tonight. Whoa, baby, I wanna talk to you. I need you, baby, to see me through. It brings a tear when I begin to realize I cried so much since you've been gone. I guess I'll drown in my own tears. I sit and cry
Terrorists win.
just like a child. My pouring tears are running wild. If you don't think you'll be home soon,
I'm throwing smoke.
I guess I'll drown. Oh yes, in my own tears. Into his life. Oh, some rain must pour. I'm so blue here without you. It keeps raining more and more. Why can't you come on home? Oh yes, so I won't be all alone. If you don't think you'll be
Time for
home
talk's over. Let's
soon,
do this.
I guess I'll. Don't let me. When I'm in trouble, baby. Oh, let me in, don't let me. I'm down in my own tears. Whoa. Now let me tell you people about this blackjack game. It's caused me nothing but trouble, and I've only myself to blame. Hey, 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 yeah. How unlucky can one man be? Well, every quarter I get now. Lord, blackjack takes it away
Throwing a
from me.
grenade.
I can't even borrow a nickel. Now I've almost lost my mind. Hey, yeah. How unlucky can one man be? Well, every quarter I get, Lord, like that I said there were 2 tens. I thought I'd have one. The dealer hit 16 with a 5, just enough to make 21. Hey, 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 yeah.
Counter-terrorists win.
How unlucky can one man be? Well, every quarter I get, yeah, blackjack takes it away from
You guys
me.
ready for this? Throwing smoke. Burn. Smoke.
Oh, now let me tell you now. So many times I sit down and cry. You know there's no one to dry my weeping eyes. Baby, I'm so in love with you, and yet you broke my heart in two. Although you've gone away, there's nothing I can say, but it's alright. Baby, how could you be so mean? You know sometimes I feel like I wanna scream. Every time I hear someone call your name now, you know it almost drives me insane. You took my love and gone, and you know that was wrong, but it's alright. I want you to keep on singing, children. You know someday you'll need these arms of mine. I said it may take a long, long time. And when things ain't what they used to be now, you can bring your fine self home to me. To prove my love is true, I'll hug and kiss you too. And I'll say it's alright.
Throwing a flashbang.
You know, way down up on the Swanee, talking about the river, yeah. You know, so far away. Oh, you know, that's where my heart is a turning. Oh, and that's where the old folks stay. All the world is sad and lonely now. Everywhere I roam, keep on telling you, my darling, how my heart is growing sad, so sad and lonely, because I'm so far, I'm far from my folks back home. So far from my folks back home, yeah. I'm far from my folks back home, yeah. So far from my folks back home, yeah. Oh, far from my folks back home, yeah. Oh, well, oh, yeah. Oh, well, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That this little girl of mine, I want the people to know this little girl of mine. I take her everywhere we go. One day I looked at my suit was new. I looked at my shoes and they were too. That's why oh, love this little girl of mine. Do you know that this little girl of mine makes me happy when I'm sad? This little girl of mine loves me even when I'm bad. She knows how to love me right down to a T. If she does any wrong, you know she keeps it from me. And that's why oh, love the little girl of mine. Do you know that this little girl of mine called me last night about 8? This little girl of mine told me that we had a date. She said that she'd meet me at 8:45. Believe it or not, but she was right on time. And that's why oh, love the little girl of mine. Do you know that this little girl of mine knows how to dress so neat? This little girl of mine stops the traffic on the street. And when the fellas start whistling, well, I don't mind. I can't blame them because she is fine. That's why oh, love the little girl of mine. And that's why whoa. I know you told me such a long time ago that you didn't want me, you didn't love me no more. I wanna know, oh, what makes me be. Do you believe me, child? I'm a fool for you. Oh, no, I'm a fool for you. I know you told me you didn't want me round. And I know you got a man way across town. So I know it's something. Oh, what makes me be. Do you believe me, child? I'm a fool for you. Oh, I'm a fool for you. Did you ever wake up in the morning, or just about to break a day, reach over and feel a pillow where your baby used to lay? Then you put on your cry like you never cried before. Oh Lord, yeah, you'll even cry so loud. you'll give the blues to your neighbor next door. Ever since you were 5 years old, baby, I've been a fool for you, little girl. Way down in my soul, I'm a little fool for you. So I know it's something. Oh, Lord, yeah, I'm a fool for you. As I was walking down the street last night, a pretty little girl came. I bowed and smiled and asked her name. She said, "Hold it, bud, I don't play that game." I reached in my pocket and surprised. That was Lincoln staring her dead in the eye. On a greenback dollar bill. Just a little piece of paper coated with chlorophyll. She looked at me with that familiar desire.
What's up, guys?
Eyes lit up like they were on fire. She said, "My name's Flo."
Today's 2 cents here, and statistics have shown that the summertime, or leading right up to summer, usually is when people build their computers. It's when the most people are out there buying, looking for deals, because maybe it's graduation sales or something, I don't know. But we find that we like to try and head off some of the questions people have when building new computers, and today we're going to tackle a topic we've not actually done on this channel before. I'm kind of curious to see how well received this is, as well as your guys' user feedback, and that is going to be gimmick versus feature. Take overclocking and reliability to the next level with the new Z390 Dark motherboard from EVGA. The Z390 Dark is built for extreme overclocking, utilizing features such as a 10-layer PCB, 17-phase power delivery, triple BIOS, and 150% more gold content mean you get more of what you need to build the ultimate Intel-based PC. To learn more about the Z390 Dark and its world-class features, visit evga.com. So we're gonna actually use some of our product here on the shelf to sort of talk about this, because here's what happens. Let's pretend we're at Fry's or we're at Microstutter. I mean, God knows we've got as much inventory as one of them. What tends to happen is someone goes, huh, this looks like a neat board, and then they kind of look at it and then they start reading the box. You know why they read the box? Because they don't know what they're necessarily looking at or what the features are and stuff. And so this is where a lot of new people can certainly get in trouble. So what we're gonna do right here is we're just gonna grab 3 brands of motherboards to try to see kind of the different ways that these brands do their marketing. So we've got 3 of the big players here. We've got EVGA, ASUS, and MSI. Now EVGA, we're gonna go ahead and start here because I am a huge fan of their packaging. They tend to be more minimalistic, as you can see. There's not a bunch of crazy logos everywhere. There's not a bunch of branding all over the place. It's not like busy, it's not ugly, if that makes sense. So what your eyes are immediately drawn to is just what's immediately like important. So there's some stuff missing from this box that we're gonna kind of talk about. And what I mean by missing is, in my opinion, what's missing are the gimmicks. They don't put in here gaming. They don't put in here VR ready. They don't even have RGB on these boards. I mean, technically the newer, I think this one might actually have RGB, but it's not controlled through like Mystic Light or any of that. They don't even have RGB headers on the board, so you can't expand it. So if you're not a fan of RGB and you're one of those that are in the camp like anti-RGB, I'm gonna stick it to them by not buying anything with RGB, this would be one of those boards. So if we move up to ASUS, it's very similar. You get a picture of the board. In fact, this box is kind of nice because it even opens up. There's no board in here, but it even opens up and you'd be able to see everything in there. Although in the store it wouldn't open, hopefully. Got your basic branding on the bottom. These are actually required by Intel if they're an Intel board, because it's kind of like Apple with their, Apple AirPods and iPod. Was it iPad, iPod, iPhone ready or whatever, like the accessories. So because they are Intel branded, Intel, whatever, they're obviously they're in with chipset. That's it, yeah. They've got to put on here all these logos because that's part of the licensing since they are Intel product. But as you can see right here, it's very basic. It just kind of talks about, now it does say gaming motherboard.
I mean, it's there. It's teeny, but it's there. I mean, you could technically use this motherboard for anything besides gaming if you wanted to, but they're gonna call it gaming centric because it's got the lighting on here, it's got RGB, it's got a lot of functions gamers would want, like lots of fan headers, obviously the RGB expansion ports or headers on there. This particular motherboard actually has water block built into the VRM, but there's not really anything on here that would truly make it gaming. I mean, to be honest, it's got wireless, Bluetooth, LANs, I mean, there's nothing that makes it gaming. So that's kind of gimmick versus feature number one. Anything that is branded gaming is 100% a gimmick. Now let's talk about MSI. I think they make great hardware, but I really think they need to work on their advertising / branding department because they kind of double down on the gimmick marketing in my opinion. So for instance, performance gaming. The reason why they have this one here is because it has a little knob you can turn that's supposed to automatically overclock. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Mystic Light RGB. We'll talk about RGB separately in a second here. But VR Ready, this is the one we saw everywhere. In fact, Kyle even did an amazing little skit about VR Ready tempered glass, which was freaking amazing. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to go and watch it. He does it as, I think it was one of the early Lyle character days. Look at the back of this. Oh my gosh. VR Ready, as you see, this guy's got better compatibility for better performance on VR Ready. Here's the problem with anything branded VR Ready on a motherboard. The motherboard doesn't do shit in determining whether or not it's VR ready. That's everything to do with the CPU and, more importantly, the GPU. The graphics card is the single most important piece in being VR ready. So something else that's a bit gimmicky that is going to up the price on something like this is we've got little nameplates here that you can change to put your own name on them. I guess it's personality, add personality to it. Mystic Light RGB, again, we'll talk about that in a second. Audio boost. What this is basically saying is that they've got an amplifier built into their headphone output. Because a lot of headphones, like studio grade headphones, require a lot of power to drive them because they're high ohms, high resistance. And so this is just saying it's got better output for the amount of power and the amount of headphone that it can drive with the factory, or the motherboard. But most people who are serious about sound anyway don't use onboard, they'll use a DAC or something like that. What is this, Lightning USB? Okay, that's fine, Lightning USB is all right. System Saver, so it says 3 easy to use options and boot system successfully again. So they've got some really bad English on the back. I wish they'd paid someone to actually make sure this was all grammatically correct. The irony of me saying that, but I digress. Basically, it just means it has double BIOS. So if you accidentally flash a BIOS incorrectly or it shuts off during updating BIOS, you can get it back. Oh yeah, right there. What the fast?
And TriDeath.
TriDeath VR. It's Windows compatible. That's a good one. And it's gaming certified. It's right there. Gaming certified. So the next thing we're gonna talk about here is RGB. Now I'm gonna be one of those people that subscribe to the unpopular opinion that RGB is not a bad thing. What sucks about RGB is the marketing behind it. There's been such a ridiculous push about RGB that what was an amazing feature because of choice has been soured by the amount of just stupid marketing behind it. Everyone's sick of the RGB rainbow puke that at the shows like Computex and CES, and everything's just freaking disco dancing and going crazy. But let's be honest, that is the right way to advertise what RGB is. That's clearly not a mode you need to leave it on. It's nice because RGB is not, in my opinion, a gimmick because of the fact that you can personalize it and make it what you want. Because back in the day, you could get white, green, red, or blue. If you decided later you want to go from red to green, guess what? You're buying all new fans, you're buying all new lights, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. So being able to do that when you want is a nice feature. What you guys are confused on being mad about is the marketing behind it. And I agree, hate the marketing because it's terrible. So I mentioned earlier gaming. And the problem with the word gaming is that the word itself is a bit of a gimmick. Because what we have right here are 4 examples of graphics cards, where one is labeled gaming and one is not, and it's its competitor. For instance, we've got the MSI Gaming X right here, which has gaming in the name. It's a 1650, which is slower than the Radeon RX 570 down here, which doesn't actually have gaming in the name anywhere. Another example here where we have the Strix Gaming Vega 64, versus the Founders Edition 1080 Ti, which doesn't say gaming anywhere on it, and the 1080 Ti is faster. And it's one of those things where if you were to and they're very similarly price matched too on these graphics cards. So if you were a new buyer and you're building for the first time and you're standing there looking at these boxes, you might be led to go, well, I want to build a gaming computer, so I want the gaming one. And that's where the packaging itself and the naming of some of this stuff can completely confuse and disorient and also mislead the buyer into thinking they're getting something better simply because it says the word gaming on it. So why do they say gaming? Typically, we're talking about AIB cards, which are add-in boards, which means these are third-party manufacturers for the main designer of the graphics card. In this case, we've got an NVIDIA Founders Edition 1080 Ti and 2 custom options here available, one from MSI, one from EVGA. So what's changed is where all of these GPU cores used to go to the manufacturers to put into their graphics cards, where they would then bin them and come up with their tiered system of graphics cards. So for instance, both of these brands have a expensive model, like a medium model, and a more entry-level model where some of the feature sets between the cards change. They were all binned, which meant the higher, more expensive cards would perform better and potentially overclock better than any of the lower priced cards. That all changed when NVIDIA entered the space because NVIDIA obviously kept all the best information for themselves. Why wouldn't you? They designed it, they're manufacturing it. Of course, they want to be the best because it's their name on it, so they keep the best, which means the binning that the AIBs receive now is a lot less gap, if that makes sense. They're much more similarly spec'd now in terms of what their max frequencies and crash rates and stuff were versus what NVIDIA kept. So what happens now is you've got a standard Founders Edition card right here, complete with blower, cooler, and all of that, which in almost every single case performed better when overclocked than even their overclocking counterparts from the AIBs. And that's no fault of theirs, that's simply because of the way business is being done now with NVIDIA. But what you're gonna find here is a lot of even the overclocked versions, and this is where I'm kind of moving on to gimmick versus function. Yes, it is functional. It is indeed 20 to 50 megahertz faster than the base model. But ever since GPU Boost was introduced as well, they tend to go farther than those numbers anyway. And what you find is when you start manually overclocking these graphics cards, they are within 1 to 2% of each other from max clock, because you kind of find a more consistent crash rate where they all tend to sort of crash right around the same frequency, plus or minus like maybe 20, 25 megahertz, to where the difference in performance between them is not noticeable. But what you do get with the AIBs though is obviously very robust coolers versus this. The Founders Edition card, at least back when we had a single fan, now they have dual fans, were significantly louder and hotter than these cards. Where although these cards may not have performed necessarily any better than this, when it comes to performance of FPS, what they performed better at was acoustics and thermals. So what you found is that there was still a lot of value to have to these cards, even though they were a little bit more expensive than one that could potentially overclock farther. In just about every instance, like I said though, the Founders Edition cards that we received had the best overclocks than even the cards built for them. And there's that RGB again. And that brings us to our next kind of topic here, which is gaming mice. In my opinion, what's more important than the level of DPI, which is 16,000 versus 8,200, so that should mean this one's twice as better as this one, right? Twice as good. I mean, that's not the way that this works. In my opinion, what you should truly care about is the weight of the mouse, the type of grip it is, the claws, the palm. These are magnetic, they come off. You can add weights, which I've added them in there like a heavy mouse. You even use this tool to sort of change the height of the pad in the back. Plus it's ambidextrous. Like I said, it's got the same buttons on either side. So these are neat features that are not gimmicky in my opinion. But what is gimmicky is like a lot of the stuff they put on the box, right? This has a 16,000 DPI sensor, whereas this has an 8200 with a 150 IPS, or inch per second. Do you know how fast you'd have to be moving this mouse to cover 150 inches per second? You'd be gaming like this. One of my favorite mices that I've ever had in the past was just the basic Microsoft 3-button laser mouse. That's it. I Counter-Striked day in and day out with that mouse. Then the Logitech came out with their optical mouse, which had that kind of a crazy, like dimpled looking design on it. And the 518, I went through like 3 of them. What only differentiates a basic office mouse from a gaming mouse is a gaming mouse actually has a crisper optic in it, or sensor or laser, that gives you a little bit of fine control. So the last topic I want to talk about here is gaming chairs. You know what these companies have done? And the reason why there's so many of them popping up, they're all made in China. They're all made by the same manufacturer with just different stitching of name on there. They took cheap, cheesy racing chairs like you would find at like Pep Boys and threw it on a base of like any regular office chair and called it a gaming chair. Sitting in an office chair, like a true office chair, like a Herman Miller or even the Autonomous, which I personally sit in at both home and here at the studio, which is only $300. I say only, that's very cheap compared to like the price of like a Herman Miller or something like that. The way chairs are rated is in a 24-hour rating, and you have your 24-hour chair, you have an 8-hour chair, a 4-hour chair, 6. I mean, the hour rating is where it's basically considered ergonomic and comfortable and good for your posture at that time rating. And if you guys have never researched that, go and look at it. It's actually a lot of science behind chairs and their design. There's no science and no design behind a gaming chair whatsoever. And they've even gone as far now to start putting RGB in gaming racing chairs. That is probably the most triggering thing I've ever seen, is like these gaming chairs. And I've sat in a few of them. I have some. I still have one sitting up there. No one sits in it at this studio. Even when guests come over, they'd rather sit in our IKEA little metal framed no pad chair than that, because they sit in it and they're like, this kind of sucks. And I'm sure plenty of you are sitting in your racing chair right now watching this video going, hey, I like my chair. You know what? It's your butt. You put it wherever you want at the end of the day. But I find racing chairs to be extremely good. And that's why I'm only putting this out there. If you're shopping for a setup and you're putting a new office together, or a man cave or a gaming room or whatever, you owe it to yourself to at least go and sit in some proper ergonomic chairs. Because trust me when I say your butt and your back are gonna thank you at the end of the day. So anyway, that's just I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and because it's gonna spark discussion, it's gonna spark arguments too, but it's gonna spark discussion, and I'm really curious as to what you guys think as the consumer on what the true gimmicks versus features are. Every single gimmick is pretty much based off of a functional feature, but features can also be gimmicky too. So guys, tell me what you think down in the comments below, or head on over to Twitter at Jace2Cents and let me know what you guys think is a gimmick and what's an actual function you can't live without. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. I really hope I didn't break this mouse. I really like this mouse.
Oh, you're on the right track. Look here, Daddy, I went first and I'm back. So if you want to have fun in this man's land, let Jackson start shaking hands. On a greenback dollar bill. Just a little piece of paper on a chlorophyll. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I'd pop Lincoln and Jackson too. I didn't mind seeing them fade out of sight. I just knew I'd have some fun last night. Whenever you're in town and looking for a thrill, if Lincoln can't get it, Jackson sure will. On a greenback dollar bill. Just a little piece of paper coated with chlorophyll. We went to a nice spot where the lights were low. Dined and danced and I was ready to go. I got out of my seat and when Flora rose, she said, "Hold it, Daddy, while I powder my nose." I sat back down with a smiling face while she went down to the powder place with my greenback dollar bill. Just a little piece of paper coated with chlorophyll. The music stopped and the lights came on. I looked around and saw I was all alone. I didn't know how long Flo had been gone, but a nose powder sure didn't take that long. I left the place with tears in my eyes as I waved Lincoln and Jackson last goodbye. On a greenback dollar bill. Just a little piece of paper coated with chlorophyll. have some fun. You only live but once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good time roll. I say let the good time roll. I don't care if you're young or old. You ought to get together and let the good time roll. Don't sit there mumbling, talking trash. If you want to have a ball, you got to go out and spend some cash and let the good time roll now. I'm talking about the good times. Well, it makes no difference whether you're young or old. All you got to do is get together and let the good time roll. Charles in town. I got $1.25 and I'm just ran the clown. But don't let no female play me cheap. I got 50 cents more than I'm gonna keep. So let the good time roll now. I tell y'all I'm gonna let the good time roll. Well, it don't make no difference if you're young or old. All you got to do is get together and let the good time roll. Yeah, no matter weather, rainy weather, if you want to have a ball, you got to get yourself together. Oh, get yourself under control. Oh, let the good time roll. I'm gonna love you.
I know how much you hate him, so let's
Like
do
no
this.
one's loved you.
Molotov.
Come rain or come shine.
I'm throwing smoke. Throwing a
High
flashbang.
as a mountain,
I'm throwing a grenade.
deep as a river. Come rain or come shine.
I'm throwing a flashbang.
I guess
Fire.
it was just one of those things. But don't ever bet me, 'cause I'm gonna beat
Terrorists
you.
win. Where did you think you were going?
Well, if you let me.
Thanks, dude.
You're gonna love me
I'm not scared of anyone.
like no one's loved
I'm not
me.
scared of anyone.
Come rain or come shine.
Let's go kick some butt.
Happy together,
Throwing fire. Flashbang.
unhappy together. And wouldn't it be fun?
Clear.
Days may be cloudy or sunny.
Grenade.
We're in or out of the money. Yeah,
Throwing
but
fire.
I'm with you always. I'm with you, rain or shine.
Throwing a flashbang.
You gonna love me like nobody's loved me. Come rain or come shine. happy together, unhappy together, and wouldn't it be fine? Days may be cloudy or sunny, we're in or we out of the money. Yeah, I'm with you always. I'm with you, rain. What's yeah. Snow is falling, falling on the cold, cold ground. Snow is falling, baby, falling on the cold, cold ground. Looming misery, looming misery all around. I used to be so happy, now all I do is cry. Well, I used to be so happy, all I do is cry. Gonna buy myself a coffee. Well, I'm gonna lay right down and die. Well, people, if I die tomorrow, who's gonna cry for me? Hey, Lord, if I should die tomorrow, well, who's gonna cry for me? Well, I ain't got nothing but these blues and misery. Well, Dad, you better come on and get me. Ain't got nothing to lose. Lord, Dad, come on and get me. Ain't got nothing to lose. Well, I don't feel like living. Life ain't nothing but the blues. Listen here, go ahead. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountain, blowing like a breeze. Country road, take me home to the great. I belong, sing on son, West Virginia. I'm my mama, take me home. home yesterday. Yesterday. Now hold on, you got it. All my memories gather round high. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, tear up from my eyes. Now you stop country road, y'all. All right, now take me home. Out to the place I belong. Oh, my mama. Oh, you ought to take me home. Country road. Oh, I like that. Me too. Me sing this thing again, you know, yeah. Well, let me hear you. Country road, why don't you take me home? Take you home. Oh, to the place I belong. Oh, West Virginia. West Virginia. Mountain mama. That's all right, so take me home. Get on home. Country road. Now put your hands together. Country road. Take me home. Wonder who's kissing her now. I wonder who's teaching her how. I wonder who's looking into her eyes, breathing sighs and telling lies. I wonder who's buying the wine for lips that I used to call mine. I wonder if she ever tells him of me. I wonder who's kissing her now.
That's the way we do it. Let's go.
I wonder who's buying the wine for lips that I used to call mine. I wonder if she ever tells him of me. I wonder, pretty baby, I wonder who's kissing you now. It brings the tears into my eyes when I begin child. Now pouring tears are running wild. If you don't think you'll be home soon, I guess I'll drown. Oh yeah.
Throwing flashbang.
I know it's true. Into each life. Oh, some rain. Rain was pour.
Flashbang.
So
Throwing flashbang.
here without you.
I'm bringing the hostages out.
More and more. Why can't you come on home? Oh yes, so I won't be all alone. If you don't think you'll be home soon, I guess I'll don't let me when I'm in trouble.
Flashbang.
Oh, yeah, me and don't let me.
Throwing
I
flashbang.
guess I'll drown in my own tears. Oh.
Grenade. Throwing fire.
Counter-terrorists win.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song
Go, go, go.
keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear
Throwing flashbang.
as moonlight through the pines.
Flashbang.
Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, oh, Georgia,
Be careful. Let's all make it home tonight.
no peace I find. Just an old sweet song. Georgia on my mind.
Fire in the hole.
Other arms reach out to me.
Throwing fire.
Other eyes
Smoke.
Smile tenderly, still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Whoa, Georgia, Georgia. No peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I say just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Throwing a grenade. Molotov. Throwing flashbang.
Think you know me well, but you don't know me. No, you don't know the one who dreams of you at night and longs to kiss your lips and longs to hold you tight. Oh, I'm just a friend. That's all I've ever been. 'Cause you don't know me. No, you don't know me. For I never knew the art of making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and
Roger that.
I let my chance go by, a chance that you might love me. Give your hand to me, then you say goodbye.
Molotov.
Walk away,
Flashbang.
find the lucky guy. Never, never know
Laying down slowly.
the one. Well,
Roger that. Throwing the oxygen.
afraid and shy, I let my chance go by. And then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. Oh, you never, never know the one who loved you so. Well, you don't know me. You don't love me. You don't know me. guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
Now, baby, listen, baby, don't you treat me this away, 'cause I'll be back on my feet someday.
Don't care if you do, 'cause it's understood. You ain't got no money, you just ain't no good.
Well, I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go.
That's right, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
Well,
Don't you come back no more.
what you said?
Don't you come back no more.
I didn't understand you.
Don't you come back no more.
You can't mean that.
Don't you come back.
Oh, now, baby, please.
Don't you come back.
What you trying to do?
Throwing fire. Grenade.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song comes as sweet and clear
Terrorists win.
as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly